What is analog horror? Analog horror is a term used to describe some web series or online shorts that take inspiration from VHS tapes or old home entertainment, even if it's purely aesthetically. For those who may be too young to remember the days of VHS tapes, as they were effectively discontinued in the year of 2006, VHS tapes, especially ones recorded on a home camcorder, wouldn't have the best quality. They were stuck in standard definition and could sometimes be grainy or flicker on screen. They would also degrade the more you would use them, so these problems became more active as time went on. Many creators used this quirk as a way to set up the tone, from the staticky footage to the buzzing of the tape filling the empty sound, or they'll intentionally create grainy footage as a way to hide some lower quality effects. Some popular analog horror series include Mandela Catalog, the FNAF security tapes, and every copy of Mario 64 is personalized. We even got an analog horror-esque movie in theaters recently in the form of Skinamarink. It really goes to show that sometimes less is more. Who is the Slender Man? The Slender Man is an entity that appears as a tall, faceless man wearing a suit. He's often portrayed as an interdimensional being that stalks his prey, primarily children, to kidnap them. It's often debated as to what he does once he captures someone, but some say he either kills them, eats them, or takes them to his world where he will follow them for all eternity. The Slender Man was created by Eric Knudsen on the somethingawful forums. There he went by the username Victor Surge. The site held a contest on who could create the creepiest image, so Eric submitted 2 photoshopped images of the Slender Man with fake newspaper clippings. After winning the contest, he became popular on the internet, but this was nothing in comparison to his presence after both the Marble Hornet series debuted in 2009 and Slender the 8 Pages by Parsec Productions was released in 2012. The Slender Man helped popularize CreepyPasta, indie horror games, and the Let's Player scene in the early 2010s. He may not be as popular today, but his impact is undeniable. There are different types of Slender Man. The most well-known and relevant is the Enderman, a hostile mob from Minecraft. This mob would appear at night and carry around blocks. If you look one in the eyes or attack it, then they will warp towards you to strike. If defeated, they could possibly drop an Ender Pearl. Creator Notch has confirmed that the Endermen are directly inspired by the Slender Man. There's also Splendor Man, making his debut in a parody of Marble Hornets released on November 1st, 2010 by Neil Cicere. While recording a short film, the Splendor Man snuck onto the scene, but instead of attacking or terrorizing the cast, he gives them flowers, dances, and makes them cheer and laugh. The Trenderman is another parody that first debuted on the Tumblr back in July 31st, 2012. User Conjured Charisma took a picture of a mannequin in a suit with the description, Slender Man's Casual Friday. The name Trenderman came from user I Lack Tact, who commented on the post. This version is a self-absorbed fashion critic who judges those who don't meet his taste in clothing. He would often try to help the quote-unquote victim get a better look. Lastly, there's Offender Man, created by user Arcanine Ryu. The Offender Man is a tall, faceless man with a trench coat and an endless supply of roses, and instead of going after children, he goes after adults. At least he's got standards. He hangs out at cities to find his next victim. He offers them a rose, and if they accept it, he will kidnap them, sexually assault them, and leave them somewhere else with no memory of the event. What are creepypastas? Creepypastas are, simply put, internet horror stories, tales of terror that can be written by just about any individual on the internet. Stories are often shared on websites such as the Creepypasta Wiki and R No Sleep on Reddit. The name comes from the term copypasta, which is simply a line of text or code that is shared throughout the internet. Creepypastas are the same thing, but instead they're horror stories. Some of the internet's most popular horror monsters either came from a creepypasta or they gained an audience through them. Some of these include Jeff the Killer, the Rake, Zalgo, Slender Man, Suicide Mouse, Sonic.EXE, Ben Drowned, Laughing Jack, and SmileDog.jpg. Creepypastas gained the most traction during the early 2010s, thanks to games like Slender the 8 Pages, and YouTubers that would take these stories and share them online through narrations, like Mr. Creepypasta. However, there are stories that date back to the early 2000s. Some would even say that they date back to the earliest days of the internet. A story that's often credited as one of the oldest creepypastas is Ted the Caver. What are the Backrooms? The Backrooms is a place that exists outside of reality. It appears as a yellow, dimly lit office space that's an endless labyrinth with no beginning or end. You end up there by accidentally glitching out of reality. The Backrooms came from a 2019 4chan thread, where it compares it to no-clipping out of reality. No-clipping is a term associated with video games, where you can clip through walls you were never meant to before. Think of it like that, but applied to the real world, and doing so completely by accident. You'll lean on a wall in just the right spot, and seemingly phase through to the Backrooms with little to no hope of escape. There have been several Backrooms-inspired shorts and web series that came thanks to the rise of analog horror. Some like to add their own entities or levels to the Backrooms. So while the endless office space is the most well-known depiction of the Backrooms, it turns out there are actually multiple levels that look and act completely differently. As of the time of making this video, it has been confirmed that there will be a Backrooms movie being directed by 17-year-old Kane Parsons with the help of A24. What are indie horror games? Indie horror games are horror games that are developed by only a few individuals outside of the traditional AAA studio. While indie devs may not have the same budget, backing, or support as much as AAA devs do, what makes them stand out is their dedication to their craft and their more experimental nature. While some of these games can be released on places like Steam, Epic, Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo, others will release their games completely for free on sites like Itch.io, GameJolt, and Newgrounds. While some may try to make a game from scratch with no budget, others can find support on places like Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Many success stories from the indie scene include Slender, Five Nights at Freddy's, Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion, Bendy the Ink Machine, Poppy Playtime, Limbo, Among the Sleep, and God knows how many others. Some non-horror examples include Shovel Knight, Cuphead, Freedom Planet, The Binding of Isaac, Rivals of Aether, and Minecraft, which is the most successful video game in the world. What is Mascot Horror? Mascot Horror is a term that has become popular in recent years. These are games, typically indies, that take inspiration from your childhood. The main monster or monsters are based on the colorful mascots that represent their theme. But after titles such as Poppy's Playtime and Garten of Bon Bon were released, many have accepted the term and have used it more often. Many of these games get their attention from YouTubers, streamers, and influencers who not only play these games, but also make songs, animations, and theories about them. This is mainly because these content creators know that these games can help them. After the explosion FNAF made in August of 2014, many content creators have been trying to recreate that explosion with varying success. Baldi's Basics, Bendy, Poppy Playtime, Rainbow Friends, Tattletale, Doki Doki Literature Club, Tutu Charles, Hello Neighbor, My Friendly Neighborhood, Five Nights at Freddy's, the game that's often credited for starting this trend. What is Suicide Mouse? Suicide Mouse is a lost episode creepypasta based on an old Disney urban legend called Mickey Goes to Hell. The urban legend is about a lost Mickey Mouse cartoon from the Rubber Hose era that was never released to the public. The creepypasta takes this urban legend and creates a story inspired by it. Leonard Milton was reviewing Mickey Mouse shorts to include in a complete collection when he noticed a strange short of Mickey walking down a sidewalk. The short starts with Mickey having a dismal look walking down the sidewalk, as a piano is playing in the background. After 3 minutes, the screen will go black for another 3 minutes. When the short returns, Mickey can be seen smiling wildly. The background would distort, and the piano was replaced with screaming. Mickey's face appeared on screen like most endings, with Russian text that reads, "The sights of hell bring its viewers back in." What happens in the last 30 seconds is completely unknown. The story is one of the most well-known in the Lost Episode community, and is the center of discussion for the Disney horror community, with several recreations of the short and fan games being made based on the story. What is SCP? SCP is a fictional organization that attempts to find strange anomalies or dangerous entities and keep them safe from the general public, or vice versa. On the SCP Foundation, there are thousands of pages detailing different creatures, items, and even locations that the Foundation examines, all made by regular people, so it's comparable to creepypasta in this regard, and everything is Creative Commons. Each subject is listed by their number, and are categorized in different classes depending on how difficult it is to contain them. Safe. These SCPs are easy to handle, contain, and are often the least dangerous. Euclid. These require more attention due to their unpredictable nature. Keter. These guys are extremely dangerous and difficult to keep contained. Thaumiel. These are SCPs that are used to contain other SCPs. Neutralized. Ones on the higher levels that are no longer considered a threat. Apollyon. These SCPs are the few that are impossible to keep contained. Archon. Though they could be contained, it's one of those few instances where it's better that they aren't. Some of the most well-known SCPs are 173, 096, and 049. These entities and the entirety of SCP gained popularity through the game SCP Containment Breach. What is Sonic.EXE? Sonic.EXE is a video game creepypasta about a man named Tom who receives a CD with Sonic written on it. It was sent by his friend who begs him to destroy it, but his curiosity gets the better of him and he decides to play the game anyway. The title screen makes it seem like the Sega Genesis game Sonic the Hedgehog on PC, with Miles Tails Prower, Knuckles the Echidna, and Dr. Robotnik. Each goes through their own hellscape as they are tormented and eventually killed by this corrupted version of Sonic. The story is criticized by the community for being poorly written and its numerous cliches. It would eventually be taken down from CreepyPasta Wiki and moved to the Trollpasta Wiki. The creator did not take this lightly, as they ranted online, asking for his fans to make fan material. In a way, they got their wish, as the character is still relevant today thanks to multiple fan games, Friday Night Funkin' mods, and the .exe community making their own incarnations of the creature. But most of this isn't related to the request in question. Despite many claiming the story would be forgotten soon after its creation, it's still alive and well a decade later.